Hi, grade 7. So I'm putting together this video because I want to go over numbers 19 and 20 in the packet. Okay, so the point slope form packet. Some people are getting stuck on numbers 19 and 20, and then I'm also seeing a common mistake that a few of you are making. So I just want to take time to go over this. Please watch this video all the way through. Okay, it's really, really important that you watch these videos from start to finish. Okay, because sometimes I make points, especially towards the end of the video, that are important for you to hear. So this is number 19, okay? Number 19, you see this graph, and they want you to write the name of this line in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form, right? So first they want you to put it into point-slope form, and then from there, slope-intercept. Okay, so when I look at this, in order for me to come up with a slope, I need to first find 2 points on this line that intersect perfectly at a coordinate. So I chose 0, 2, and 2, -5. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here. Alright, so you're going to notice on this line that we have these 2 points here, okay, that intersect perfectly on a coordinate. Okay, so I'm going to start at my top point, right, and this first point here is what? 0, 2. Okay, and then my second point is what? 2, -5. Alright, so I'm going to be using those 2 points, okay, in my point slope equation, but for now, I just want to show you that here are my 2 points, alright? To find the slope, we could use these 2 points and do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or, because we have a graph in front of us, you guys, we could just use rise over run by using these 2 points. So I go down, right, from this point to this point. I'm going to go up or down first. So I'm going to go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's -7, that's my rise, okay? And then I go over 1, 2, so +2. So my slope here is -7 over 2. Okay, also, I could label this x1, y1, x2, y2, and I could set this up as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's my slope formula, and I would get the same slope. So to check this, -5 minus 2 over 2 minus 0. This would also give me -7 over 2. So if you wanted to double check your work, you could do it this way. Okay, so again, rise over run or slope formula. Both of these give you the slope. Okay, now I'm going to take both of these points and I'm going to transfer this over to my next sheet. So I just want to show you this, okay? I have 0, 2 that I use to find my slope, right? And then I also have, let me tip that, there we go. I have 0, 2, and I have 2, -5. Okay, so 0, 2, and 2, -5 are my 2 coordinates. That's really messy. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay, so the next question is, I now need to take this and put it into point slope form. Okay, and again, we already determined our slope. We said our slope was -7 over 2. Again, to find that, you could do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Alright, if I were to label these, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, from here, we need to now put this into point slope form. So point slope form says y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm just going to use substitution. Okay, I'm going to show you something actually. Let me do this over to the side. If you use either one of these points, you actually get the same answer, which is kind of neat. Okay, when I end up distributing. So I'm going to show you exactly this. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use, because it says to use x1, y1, I'm going to use my first coordinate here. Okay, x1, y1 here. And I'm going to substitute. So I have y minus, what's y1? 2, equals m. My slope here is m, -7 over 2, times x minus x1 is 0. Alright, so this example here defeats the purpose of this, but I'm just going to show you. Okay, if you did it using the first coordinate, this is what it looks like. Alright, and now we're just going to distribute. So -7 over 2 has to get multiplied to both x and 0. So we use distribution property, or banana method, as you guys like to call it. Okay, and I'm going to distribute. -7 over 2 times x just gives me -7 over 2x. -7 over 2 times -0 just cancels. And now I have y minus 2 that I bring down. From here, I now what? I need y by itself, so I add 2 to both sides. And when I do that, I get y equals -7 over 2x plus 2. This here is your final answer. On your answer sheet, they have your slope right here, right, -7/2. They put this in a decimal form. That's not wrong, okay? It can be -3.5x, but when we use slope, it's more functional to use slope in a fraction form because it shows us rise over run, right? This tells me if I go to my y-intercept at 2, so if I find +2 on my y-axis, right, this tells me where to go for my second point, down 7, forward 2. So this is much easier to graph when it's in fraction form. So I want you guys to be putting that slope into fraction form. Okay, now that I just did that out, I want to redo this problem and do it with a second coordinate. There's something really, really important that I want to show you that some of you keep doing wrong, so it's important that I point it out, alright? So please just bear with me. We're going to do this problem again now using the second coordinate. And we're going to get the same answer, just to prove this to you, okay? So now I'm going to use my second coordinate. So y minus y1, or in this case we're using this coordinate here, so y2, right? Y minus -5 becomes y plus 5. So again, if you made this your first coordinate, you'd still get the same slope, x1, y1, x2, y2. So if you did that, no problem. We're still going to end up getting the same answer. Okay, so y plus 5 equals, what's m? -7/2 times x minus x1 is 2. Okay, this is an important part right here. This is what a lot of you are getting wrong, so I just want to point this out. Okay, when I simplify this step, when I distribute -7/2, okay, I first distribute it to x, then I also have to distribute it to -2. Alright, I think some of you are getting this step wrong here. You're like adding and subtracting these, I think, is what you're doing. Or you're just leaving it as -3.5. So don't forget, -7/2, you have to multiply -7/2 to x and to -2. Okay, so when I do that, I bring down y plus 5 equals -7/2 x. -7/2 times x gives me -7/2x. When I multiply -7/2 times -2, I'm just going to do this over to the side. Okay, this is what it would look like. -7/2 times -2, and you're going to put that over 1. Okay, again, we always multiply fraction to fraction. Alright, so if I were to do that over here, I would take my 2 and put a 1 under it. Now when I multiply this, you can multiply straight across, or you can cross cancel. If I cross cancel, right, 2 and 2 cancel out, and that just gives me +7. Or if you multiply straight across, either way, negative times a negative is a positive. I would get 14/2, and 14/2 simplifies to 7. Okay, so when I multiply -7/2 times -2, I get a negative times a negative is a positive, and my answer ends up being 7. Okay, so a lot of you are not multiplying that correctly, so I just want to point this out. Super, super important that you distribute -7/2 to both of these numbers, and that when you multiply fraction to fraction, this whole number gets put over 1. Okay, so then when I multiply -7 times -2, I get 14. 2 times 1 is 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7, right? Or you can cross cancel. So now I'm here, and now I just have one more step left. I have y plus 5. You need y alone, so we subtract 5 from both sides. You always want to keep this equation balanced, right? So here's my equal sign. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Up here, all we did was just simplify first. Okay, now that I'm at this last step, if I take away 5 from this side, I have to take away 5 from the other side. So now I get y equals, you guys see that? Y equals -7/2x, +7 minus 5, +2. Okay, and if you remember, that's the same answer as when I plugged in the other coordinate. Okay, so again, y equals -7/2x plus 2. Okay, for number 20, alright, again, you have a graph. So you're going to find two coordinates that intersect perfectly on that graph. I chose 4, 1, and 0, -4. Okay, and again, you can use rise over run to come up with 5/4, or I can label my two coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2, and use my slope formula here to come up with 5/4. I just want to point out, okay, when I substitute here, that's a negative, right? -4 minus 1 gives me -5. 0 minus 4 is -4. A negative divided by a negative simplifies to a positive, you guys. Okay, so this becomes +5/4. This equals 1 1/4. Your answer sheet says 1 1/4 for the slope. That's correct. Okay, 1.25 if you wrote it like that. It's all the same, but we want to leave this as a single fraction, even though it's improper. Again, this tells me rise over run. Now that I have my slope, all right, I'm going to use my point slope form to write this in point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so again, I'm just going to substitute, you guys. All right, I have y minus, I made y1 here 1, equals m is 5 over 4, times x minus x1 is 4. Okay, again, something I want to point out. Okay, my next step here, I need to simplify both sides. Y minus 1 can't be simplified, so I just bring that down. But here I need to distribute 5/4. 5/4, when I distribute, gets multiplied to x and also gets multiplied to -4. Okay, so whenever I have a fraction here on the outside and I'm going to multiply, this 4 I'm going to put over 1. Because you always multiply fraction to fraction when dealing with fractions. So now I'm going to distribute this. 5 over 4 times x gives me 5/4 x, and then 5/4 times -4 over 1. Positive times a negative gives me negative 5/4 times 4 over 1. I'm just going to do over to the side to show you. 5/4 times 4 over 1. You can multiply straight across, then divide, or we can cross cancel. Okay, if you multiply straight across, you get 5 times 4 is 20 over 4. 20 divided by 4 gives me 5. Or, okay, you can multiply straight across. So 5 times 4, or you can, cross cancel. It's early, sorry guys. You can cross cancel. 4 and 4 gives me 1. So now I just multiply straight across and I get -5. Again, a positive times a negative is a negative. That's my minus sign here. So when I multiply, I end up with -5. 5/4 times -4 over 1 gives me -5. Again, a lot of you guys are forgetting to distribute 5/4 to both of these numbers. Now that I'm here, all right, I need y by itself. I'm just going to add 1 to both sides. Y minus 1, so I do +1, +1. Okay, and when I do that, I get y equals 5 over 4x, okay, -5 plus 1. If I have -5 and I add 1, I'm now at -4, okay, or a different sign, subtract, keep sign of larger number, right, is what we usually say. But my final answer now is y equals 5 over 4x minus 4. So I hope this video was helpful, you guys. The most important thing I wanted to point out was how to get the slope, and also remembering to distribute this fraction to both of these numbers. And that when you do that, you want to make sure you're multiplying fraction to fraction and keeping track of your signs. Positive times a negative is a negative. Again, 5/4 times 4 over 1. Okay, I can multiply straight across. 5 times 4 would give me 20. 4 times 1 is 4. 20 divided by 4 gives me my 5. Or again, you can cross cancel, like I did over here. Okay, either way, this is your final answer. Y equals 5/4 x minus 4. Alright, and one last point I want to make before I sign off. Thank you so much for reaching out for those that maybe were having questions or struggling. Most likely, if you're having an issue, you guys, most likely other people are as well. So it's really helpful to me to know what it is you're struggling with. So by a couple of you reaching out and saying you're getting stuck on this part here, okay, you kept getting the wrong answer because you forgot to distribute 5/4, right, to the second number. So just by us clarifying this now, hopefully that helped you. Please shoot me a message just to let me know that you now understand it, so I know that you're good for the quiz on Monday. Okay, I hope you guys all had a nice April vacation, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.